3 more weeks.
I know, so
When it's
exciting.
June.
So we are in for such a treat today. Such a treat. This text selection is basically a how-to guide to becoming an astronaut.
I can see my hand.
What we're going to read today tells us all the steps if we wanted to become an astronaut.
I don't.
Turn and tell someone near you, what is an astronaut? What is an astronaut? Find someone to talk to.
Space
Explorer?
Space explorer. Sometimes you have to go to the moon.
All right, come back to me. Put your hand in the
Not the
air if you
hottest
think
place.
you know what an astronaut is. If you know what an astronaut is, what is an astronaut?
I think it's like a scientist that wants to explore space and find out things that nobody knows about.
Okay, so listen to what she said. An astronaut is a scientist who studies, works, travels, where?
In space.
Space. Okay, so do you see the word astronaut on my board?
Yeah.
Okay, astronaut is an interesting word. It comes from the Greek language, which is kind of cool because in Greek, you get word parts that mean something and you put those parts together and you get a new something. Okay, so I'm going to show you this. And teacher, note to self, in the teacher wrap for this story, it says to do this for the word mentally. But I think astronaut is a better fit for getting them to really, okay. So look, you guys, astro means star. Okay, so what does the first part of astronaut mean?
Star.
This is where it's going to get really cool, I think. But I'm a word nerd.
You're not a word nerd.
I am totally a word nerd. You're not going to talk me out of it. Not means sailor.
So star sailor, a star sailor, because the A is not part of anything, so it's
Star
so
sailor.
it's a star sailor. It's star sailor.
Yes, a sailor, like on a sailboat, you sail across the water. But an astronaut is a sailor who sails across the what?
Star.
That's what astronaut means. Now look at the title, a star sailor. Isn't that cool? I just thought that was, love that. So put your finger underneath the title. This
Star
is,
sailor handbook.
oh my gosh, they are in it to win it.
Star sailor handbook.
Yes, a handbook is a how-to guide. So this is a handbook. This is going to tell us how to become an astronaut, okay? And it gives us all the steps to becoming an astronaut. Turn and tell your partner, I want you to come up with 2 steps to becoming an astronaut. What do you think they are? 2 steps to becoming an astronaut.
I don't know.
You have to go to college. They have to be pretty smart. What else?
I think when you go be in another boat, and if you want to be an astronaut,
Find
you
somebody.
be that.
Right here.
So they have to
Oh,
get
there you
trained
go. Well,
somehow,
join
right?
Join
Go
in
to
the
college and
free.
get trained.
Find a partnership you want to
Sail the stars.
She can join.
How are you going to get trained
Stars.
inside?
Yeah.
Thank you.
They have
So much.
simulators. You know
Okay.
a simulator?
Solar
They'll put on their spacesuits and go in the water and the pool because it feels like you're in on the moon with no gravity. So they have to just pretend that it's space. But that's a good point. You can't actually.
Well, hang on. You guys come back to me. Come back to me. Teacher, do we need to resolve a partnering pairing over here? There seems to be some concerns.
Elena and Annabelle? Do you need to separate?
Me and Elena were already here, and Annabelle.
Oh, Annabelle, come here. We've got people over here.
Don't, yeah.
Yeah, how about right here? And Lyra, can you
Okay, are we good? Do we have, are you feeling better? Okay. All right, it all works. Now, I want to know a step to becoming an astronaut. So put your hand in the air if you want to share a step. What's one step to becoming an astronaut? You think? We haven't even read it yet, but I bet you have good ideas.
To learn how to fix things.
So if you're an astronaut, you have to learn how to fix things because what might
My
break
hand
in
is
space?
higher than
The oxygen tank.
Hang on, I'm with you right now.
Um,
What might break in space?
they could have like, you know, the thing that's up there that has the two panels?
The space station with the solar panels?
Yeah, it could break so they can go up there and fix it.
You have really good ideas. Okay, what's another step to becoming an astronaut? Tell me, my friend.
Learning how to float in the air. Like how to use
Yeah.
These
Learning
are
how to
my
float in the air. When
ideas.
you go to space, there's no gravity. Gravity holds us to the earth. Okay? So when you go to space, there's nothing holding you down. So when you're in space, you just float. And that doesn't feel good. So I'm gonna cheat and tell you something before we get to the something in the story, in the text. And that is when astronauts train to be in space, they get into something that the astronauts have called it the
Like
vomit
this.
comet.
Yeah, and they get into that circle thing and they go all the way around.
They call it the vomit comet because it's training them how to float and it makes them what?
Vomit.
Yeah, it makes them sick, but you get used to it. But in the beginning, it's very normal to get sick when you get weightless, when you don't have anything holding you down. Okay, so we're going to read, but here's the deal. Before we read, I need you to touch in, meaning I need you to think for a moment about your essential question this week. So I've spent all this time talking to you about astronauts in space, and we're all excited. But you need to think about why teamwork is important.
I was gonna say teamwork.
Oh my gosh. So as an astronaut, why would teamwork be important? I want you just to think about it. We're not going to talk about it, but I want you to think about it and give me a thumbs up when you have an answer. Why would it be important to work as a team as an astronaut? Just think. Yep, and I want you to hold your thought. I'm going to start. So put your finger underneath the first word in the title. I'm going to read the title first. And you guys follow along with me. I'm going to read. You're just going to follow along with your fingers because when your eyes see the words as your ear hears, that actually helps you become a better and better reader. Okay? Astronaut Handbook by Megan McCarthy. Oh, I have the best little tidbit about Megan McCarthy. Did you know that Megan McCarthy built a spaceship in her garage when she was 6 years old?
What?
This is someone who loves space. This lady who wrote this story built a spaceship out of cardboard boxes in her garage when she was 6.
Did it work?
What do you think?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Maybe.
No.
I love it. Well, yeah, but you know what? Maybe it did work.
Maybe it did work. Maybe she said
Maybe when you all get a hold of one of your parents' magical cell phones, you could Google that. Okay? Put your finger underneath welcome. Welcome to. Now I'm going to read and you guys are just listening, but follow along with your fingers. Welcome to Astronaut School. Soon, you will be boarding a space shuttle and blasting into outer space. All different kinds of people have become astronauts. There have been teachers, painters, and even deep sea divers. You can be an astronaut too. Good, I'm seeing you guys turn pages. Awesome. Finger under first. Ooh, what does that word first tell us? The author's going to tell us the first step to becoming an astronaut.
First, you need to
Oh, I love it. Okay, let me do the reading, but I love your reading enthusiasm. I'm never going to squelch that. First, you need to decide what kind of an astronaut you will be. There are astronauts who fly the space shuttles, astronauts who conduct scientific experiments, such as growing plants, and astronauts who repair satellites. It's interesting to me that when we all talked before we started reading, that I had someone tell me that an astronaut was a scientist, and I had another person talk to me about fixing things in space. So see, you guys brought a lot of your own knowledge to this before we even started.
Can't you read on different planets? We just have a tree there because trees release oxygen.
You are correct.
So,
Thank you for sharing that idea.
well, technically,
Put your, it's okay, put your finger underneath becoming. Let's keep going. Becoming an astronaut takes a lot of preparation. It is important to study hard in school. Studying isn't always easy, but stick with it. You will have to pass some tough fitness tests to become an astronaut. So suit up and start swimming. One test is to swim in your flight suit and sneakers. And let me tell you that all of that clothes on your body are heavy and you have to swim. So let me summarize this. So far, what we know is that different people can become astronauts. Teachers, carpenters, different people can become astronauts. And you have to figure out what kind of astronaut you want to be, and then you have to train. Okay? So let's turn the page. You can use them. Are these right here? Yeah. Okay, good. It is also, so you guys have your finger underneath it? Yep. It's also important to be a team player. While in space, you'll be eating, sleeping, and working in very tight quarters with many other people. So be nice to your neighbor and no, what does it say?
fighting.
No fighting with other astronauts. Now that you can work well with others, it's time for survival training. This training will help toughen you up and prepare you to live in harsh conditions. Space is no picnic, meaning space, it's hard to live in space. So you guys,
Unless you have a tree.
we're going to work on this chart. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to start listing the steps, okay? So the steps to becoming an astronaut. I want you to turn to your partner while I'm getting ready. What was one step that you've learned about so far? Turn and talk.
They said you have to do fitness tests. We talked about swimming in the pool.
That you can be.
What did they mention about teamwork? To be a good team member.
How many pages?
Because it's easy.
500 pages.
Okay, come back to me,
600 pages.
soon to be third graders. What was one step that we've learned about so far that you have to go through to becoming an astronaut? What's one? Tell me.
Swimming with heavy clothes on.
Okay, so physical training. So one is physical training. Things like swimming and running and lifting weights. What was another step to becoming an astronaut?
Survival.
Survival training.
If you somehow make a tiny little tree and then put it in an oxygen chain,
Will it grow?
will it make infinite oxygen for the oxygen chain? I mean,
You're really thinking about oxygen, and you know, trees are a source of oxygen, so if we can get them to grow in space, yes, they could give us oxygen.
Because you can put that tree on the hot side of the room and then grab water.
I hope that you maybe consider exploring astronaut jobs. Now, this is not all. We've got physical training, survival training, but you guys, we have to train what's in here. Yeah, didn't it say in the beginning you had to study hard? So you have to study hard. I also would like all of your eyeballs to go back to this page where they're floating around in the space capsule. With your partner, I'd like you to look at that, and that paragraph's talking, there's one more skill that you have to be good at. Look at that with a partner. With your partner, I know you might know, but look with your partner, be sure she knows. What do they have to do?
No fighting.
Yes, that's right. So you know what raising it for?
All right, come back to me. Come back to me. We are going to read the first sentence on this page together. Put your finger under it. Ready? Read with me, and then I'm coming to you. Just hang in there, buddy. I know you really do. Let's read that sentence. It's also important to be a team player. So what's the skill? Yes. So they have to be able to work as an individual or a team?
Team.
So important.
But we're not with that. That doesn't make sense because we're not
Yes,
in a
you
game.
did feel good.
That doesn't make sense because we're not in a game. You have to cooperate. Wait, I can't say that.
Cooperate. Okay, good. Turn the page. You need to be looking at the astronaut with the machine on the planet. That's not Earth. Put your finger under after. Turn the page. Turn the page. Look at my page, you guys. Be sure you're with me.
It looks like a desert.
It's a robot.
Why are
That is a robot.
Okay.
Why aren't there plants?
Okay.
I forgot.
Follow along with me as I'm reading. I'm reading. After you're both mentally, guys, means mind. It means brain. So mentally means brainly. So you have to get your brain ready and physically prepared. It's time for the real work to begin. Practice makes perfect. Those of you who have decided to become engineers will practice working with machines, much like the ones you'll use in space.
Well, they're just practicing in the deserts.
They might be. Those of you who want to be a pilot of the space shuttle, you will need to learn how to fly planes. So on this page, we can add, so we actually have one, I'm going to add practice different skills. Okay, now because we're at the end,